Last month, we lost these 13 heroes in Afghanistan. And if you've been following the news and the story, you know it was a direct result of our botched withdrawal plan from the Biden administration. One of the heroes we lost, Darin Taylor Hoover Jr., 31 years old, from Salt Lake City, Utah. Now, a Gold Star family, it's been a traditional term of honor for many years. A Gold Star family, the immediate family members of a fallen service member who died while serving in a time of conflict. I am sorry to say that Darin Hoover is now a member of a Gold Star family. He is the father of Marine Corps Staff Sergeant Taylor Hoover, and he joins us now. Mr. Hoover, welcome to Newsmax, and we are so sorry for your loss. How are you?
Thank you. I appreciate it. We're holding up as well as we can. We're all dealing with it in different ways, but we're coping with it.
Sir, can you tell me what they told you, the circumstances of your son's death? I've heard varying accounts of what happened over there. Do you have any details that perhaps we don't?
I don't. The only details that I have are the same that everybody else has got, that they were at the gate checking all of those Afghan people to come into the airport, and were engaged in enemy gunfire, that my son was running back and forth between all of his Marines, concentrating them on the fire where it came from and replenishing their ammo supply as the firefight continued. And then, unfortunately, the suicide bomber detonated himself.
Again, we are so sorry, and I know words are terribly inadequate. I'd like to ask you about what they call the dignified transfer. When your son's remains were returned, along with the 12 other heroes from Afghanistan, the president was there, members of the cabinet, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. My understanding is that you did not want to meet with President Biden. Can you tell us a little bit about that decision?
We discussed it as a family. It was pretty much already predetermined that that's not what our son would want. You know, under those circumstances, we felt it best that we not meet with him. That's what Taylor would have wanted.
Was there something before all this, you know, an issue you had with the president? I have plenty, believe me, or was it just surrounding how incredibly poorly handled this whole withdrawal was?
It absolutely was. The ineptness of the withdrawal, the circumstances under which it happened. You know, and again, we wanted to grieve alone as a family without interruption from that. You know, it's appreciated, don't get me wrong, but from the way this thing was handled, just from big start to end, we just felt that it was in our best interest to grieve as a family and grieve alone.
We're privileged to have you speak with us. I have noticed that some of the families have been vocal on Facebook and that kind of thing for a time, and then they get shut down. I have noticed that if a Gold Star family has a problem with a Republican, like then candidate Donald Trump or perhaps George W. Bush, they're elevated and celebrated, and they speak at conventions, and you see them all the time. I have not seen that with this group, and I'm not saying that's good or bad. But do you have any thoughts on that? Has your opinion been sought out? Have you been, in any way, do you feel neglected or bothered or hassled, or why aren't we hearing more from the families? And I totally respect everybody's decision, but I'm just curious about that. Do you know what I mean?
I do. You know, in all honesty, we haven't been neglected. As far as the love and support coming from the community, both from local communities. His mother and I are living apart and his sisters. The love and support that have come from the communities is absolutely astounding. From across the country, for the most part, has been astounding. We couldn't have asked for anything better. Knowing where everything came from, how it happened, what happened, the overwhelming love and support has been absolutely tremendous. As far as the other stuff is concerned, we're not really, of course I've got my opinions and they're very strong ones, but I don't want my opinions overstepping what these 13 gave up. And there is another, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and don't quote me on this, but if I'm not mistaken, there's another 14 at Walter Reed recovering from this same blast, from the same incident. And I don't want to detract from that. I don't want anything to get in the way of that. We don't want that as a family. We want Taylor's name front and center. And we want the rest of those Marines and the Navy corpsmen and the staff sergeant from the Army, we want their names front and center. We don't want them to be forgotten.
I know you didn't meet with President Biden, and you told us about your decision not to meet with him. Did you observe him at the transfer ceremony?
I did. He was across the tarmac from us, yes.
What did you notice, if anything?
Just like I've said before, the video shows him looking at his watch once. It was more than once. It wasn't just once. It wasn't twice. It was after every single transfer of each case that came off of that airplane. Every last one of them. There was not a single one where he did not look at his watch. And to me, that is, as a father and as a dad, that was one of the most disrespectful, dishonorable, absolutely astounding things that I have ever seen in my life from anyone. That blew our minds. That was extremely disrespectful.
Incredibly so. And it was also mind-boggling that the media tried to pretend this didn't happen, and when it came to light, they tried to say that it actually didn't happen, and then fact-checking went haywire, and it happened, and you saw it with your own eyes. Sir, tell us, please, about your son. What was he like? Just anything you want to share. We'll unfortunately never get to meet him.
And it is unfortunate that there are a lot of people that won't get to meet him. That man is bigger than life. Had a heart as big as I could ever explain it. His passion and his fire and his desire to serve the United States. He had a mission, he had a calling, and he knew what it was. And that was to further his career and get others to join the Marine Corps. Very loving to both of his sisters, his mother. They were the highlight of his life. His fiancee, Nicole, was also the highlight of his life. They looked up to him, especially the two sisters, his two sisters, looked up to him for everything. They went to him with everything. He was wise beyond his years, and he was always the one to step up for the little guy, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't let anybody pick on somebody that couldn't handle themselves.
Mr. Hoover.
So in essence, I'm sorry?
No, please finish your thought. In essence,
he was taking up the fight for those that can't fight for themselves, and wound up giving his life ultimately for that cause, for that passion that he had for not only being a Marine, but protecting us as United States citizens.
Sir, we'd like to highlight, if you don't mind, some web pages that have been set up. The Taylor Hoover GoFundMe page is active, a memorial fund for your son, and also the Taylor Hoover Help a Hero page is also active as well. And I know a lot of our viewers really would love to support your family at this time. Darin Hoover, once again, I'm so sorry for what you're going through and what happened, but we thank you for joining us, and please stay in touch.
Will do. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Darin Hoover. We'll be right back.